Good afternoon from Bali, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, for my morning contemplation, there's been a name that has come up quite a bit in my awareness, and this is the name Swami Vivekananda. And wouldn't you know, some of the first quotes that I saw were from him, and so I thought today's video I would focus on some of his philosophy. And I thought, well, some people probably don't even know who Swami Vivekananda is. So I thought I would just read this to you, that Swami Vivekananda was a great philosopher, a Hindu monk, and a spiritual leader who believed in the mantra of simple living and high thinking. He was born on January 12th in a Bengali family, and Swami Vivekananda moved the world with his discourse on modern Vedanta and Raj Yoga at a very early age. Raj Yoga. And I know that I will be writing more about Raj Yoga. I'll probably speak about the 4 different types of main yogas that I'd love to share with you in future videos. And again, I'll write a little bit more about Raj Yoga very soon. But for today, I thought I'd start with this first quotation by Swami Vivekananda. And it says, "If you want to be religious, enter not the gate of any organized religions. They do 100 times more evil than good because they stop the growth of each one's individual development." And isn't that interesting? That here is a Hindu monk who is obviously following some tradition, yet he's very specific about the growth of each one's individual development. And this wonderful individual development is so fitting for the work that I work with too, and obviously inspired by people like this and historical figures who have just shared the idea of truth and oneness. And so today I thought I would share another quotation by someone that's more modern, and this is Deepak Chopra. This quotation says, "Religion is believing in someone else's experience. Spirituality is having your own experience." Religion is believing in someone else's experience. Spirituality is having your own experience. Now you understand the same idea between Swami Vivekananda and Deepak Chopra. This whole idea of self-development or self-realization is understanding ourselves, our highest selves, and then how we, as pure consciousness, function through this body and mind. And this is very much an individual journey. And I would say that in the studies that I've done and shared with people, seems to be a commonality amongst different religious traditions and spirituality in general, that there is this milestone of grief that often is overcome in this process. So it's often grief that allows us to see things in a very different way once we can work through that grief. And then that starts a pattern for understanding ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper. And this is the goal of both spirituality and religiousness. So if we think about this idea, there's such an opportunity that arises with grief, yet a lot of people are trained in, let's say, positive psychology, or it's just like, think positively and that will be okay. Well, thinking positively doesn't necessarily help us work through grief, and working through grief is such an important step. And again, I've seen this in so many traditions. And this is the reality. So this individual development, it's very interesting that it seems to have this common theme, and not that every single person has to have grief to suddenly have an enlightening experience, but there is some quality to grief itself or sadness that opens up a doorway that until then often is not noticed. So today I would love for you to sit for 5 minutes after this video and think, first of all, do you have any grief that you may not have worked through and might be ready to work through, and you know that I'm here to help you? But at the same time, I'd like you to think, are you looking at your individual development, self-development, self-improvement, consciously working on this? Or are you following something, following a tradition, following a religion, following a ritual, following a practice that's been taught to you? Because when you're doing that, it's not coming from your own heart space. Your own heart space does connect when you do your own prayers, your own meditation, your own work, your own Dhamma, they would call it. And Dhamma is a term that's often used in in Buddhism, but I want you to know that this whole idea of our own work is very common in all religions and also spirituality. So today I'd love for you to think about, are you doing your individual work, or are you following the masses? Because if you follow masses, it allows you to feel like you belong to something, that you understand something because someone has taught you something, but it's not your understanding, and it's not your learning, and it's not personalized to you. And you can do this, and I'm here to help, of course, if you need me. I wanted to finish with one more quotation by the Dalai Lama, and this quotation says, "The purpose of all the major religious traditions is not to construct big temples on the outside, but to create temples of goodness and compassion inside, in our hearts." So again, this quotation, I don't know if you're hearing yelling around me, there's a bit of work and construction going on around me, but let me read this quotation one more time and hope that you can hear the whole quotation. This quotation again is by the Dalai Lama, and it says, "The purpose of all the major religious traditions is not to construct big temples on the outside, but to create temples of goodness and compassion inside, in our hearts." And if you have learned any information, whether from my videos, whether from your own life experience, you'll notice that this is the commonality of religious organizations or religious practice. I'll say really religious practice or religious thought, and certainly its spirituality. I hope that you will contemplate that for 5 minutes after this video and see again, are you focusing on your own development, or are you following the masses, which is not your development, it's not personalized to you. I give you that fantastic exercise to do after this video, and I hope you remember I'm here to help you. And remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.